Well, welcome back to our series of pastoral one-on-one conversations, and this is episode 4. And excited to have join us today our pastoral intern Zach McIntosh. Zach and his wife Charlotte have been with us at River Oaks for several months now, having moved last year. And Zach is a student at Reformed Theological Seminary. They have 2 kids, 2 delightful kids, Zane and Luna, who was born last year. And if you haven't had a chance to get to know Zach yet, they did have a baby last fall, and so that limited their time at the church. And then, of course, now we've been in lockdown. But hopefully you've had a chance to either see him preach earlier this year. If you've been part of the men's Bible study, he's been taking a leadership role in that. He's led the worship service a couple different times, including yesterday, in fact, if you streamed the service yesterday. But if you haven't had a chance to get to know Zach or his wife up close and personal, hopefully this will be a helpful time for you to do so. So look forward to our conversation, and welcome, Zach.
Thanks for having me.
So we're going to hit a couple, serious questions in terms of where you came from, that kind of thing, and then we'll do some rapid fire. What are your favorite kinds of stuff? So let's begin. Where are you in Charlotte from?
We are from Southern California. I grew up in a small city outside of Los Angeles called Sylmar and lived there for most of my formative years.
And then most recently, you spent some time in other cities. What was your path to get to Florida?
Well, I ended up in Tennessee pursuing a career in law enforcement, and I got called into ministry while I was there in Memphis, and ended up back in California where I met Charlotte and was attending a seminary there, and had an opportunity to come to RTS in Orlando. And Charlotte works for Universal, so she had an opportunity for a promotion and a transfer as well. And so that's how we ended up out here in Florida.
Very cool. Now, you've lived in California, you lived in Tennessee, you've had some experience in other places. Now that you've been here for a while, what are the top 3 weirdest things about Florida that you've encountered so far?
Well, the one that comes top of my mind, because they're out again, are those love bug things. Those are nowhere in any of the other places I've ever lived before, so that's weird to me. Growing up in Los Angeles, which is notorious for fairly bad drivers, moving to Florida, I've learned that there's a lot worse drivers here in Florida than there are in Los Angeles. Partly, I think that's because of the snowbirds and some of those things. But when we moved here, the insurance rates on our car actually doubled. We thought it would go down. So that just goes to show you that there really are some bad drivers in Florida. But those are the top 2 things. I don't really think I enjoy Florida. I guess I'm unusual individual in that case, but I didn't really enjoy my time in California, so Florida's been a nice change of pace.
There you go. And then maybe one other personal thing. What are some of the things you like to do as a family? You have a young son named Zane. You have, I guess she's how many months now? How old is Luna?
7 months. Yep.
7 months. 7 months. And she's a chunker now. And so what are some of I know you've been in lockdown for quite some time, but what are some of your favorite things to do as a family?
We enjoy playing on the Nintendo Wii. Zane really enjoys that. It's a video game that gets you moving, even though you are playing a video game. And then every day we try and walk we live in the student housing area in Oviedo, and there's a gorgeous lake on the backside of the property. So we try and go walk the lake and there's some ducks and things like that. So just trying to be outside and enjoy each other's company.
Very cool. All right, it's time for the rapid fire round for folks to get to know you and a few other things about you. So I'm gonna ask you a few of your favorite things, and of course, it's always hard to pick your favorite book, and so it doesn't have to be the canonical final one, but you can give us for now at least what your gut reaction is. So, what would you say your favorite non-Bible, non-theology book is?
Jules Verne, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I've actually read it over 100 times. It was one of the first books that I read when I was younger. My grandpa gave it to me to read. He said, "Here, read this." I think he was just trying to get me to shut up, but I finished it within about an hour and a half and reread it again. and I would go back to it periodically,
Wow.
just as a fun adventure story. So
Very cool. All right. What about your favorite movie or one of your favorite movies?
any movie with John Wayne, he's one of my favorite actors. So True Grit would be at the top of the list for me for sure.
So not the remake, but the originals, right?
No, not with the dude, with the Duke. Yes.
Fair enough. What about your favorite? Let's talk about favorite type of music, and then favorite, band or musician.
I grew up in a house with many musically inclined individuals. My dad's a drummer. My mom sings opera and plays the piano. So I was exposed to a wide variety of music, but I would go with classic rock because that's what was always on so the Eagles, my dad played Kiss, Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, those kinds of things. It's a big cacophony of types, but classic rock for sure.
And any one of those, if you had to be stranded on a desert island with just one album or one band, what would it be?
The Eagles.
Eagles. Okay. Very good. All right. What about favorite place to visit?
Mm.
Trip you've been on, that kind of thing.
Before I was married, I used to go fly fishing in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee and also in Arkansas. So being out in the river fishing was something that I really enjoyed. But I haven't done that since I've been married and things of that nature. But that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Very good. Now, you sort of mentioned some of the family stuff you do, and of course, it's different now that we are under the, at least still sort of in lockdown. But when you're not doing schoolwork, when you're not doing church work, that kind of thing, or when you weren't a police officer, that kind of thing, what are some of your favorite things to do outside of work or any hobbies you may have?
I was a pretty avid golfer. I enjoyed getting out and playing golf, and I enjoy reading. It's something that I've always really enjoyed doing, and I enjoy a good cigar. So
Very good. Okay, last one. Date night. I'm not sure what date night means right now, but
I don't
also
either.
when you have two small kids, it also takes on a very different meaning. But hypothetically speaking, if you and Charlotte had an actual date night and so forth, what would kind of the perfect date night look like for you?
Dinner at a nice restaurant, and then somewhere to possibly go dancing. Charlotte really enjoys dancing, and just probably trying to be out near the ocean somewhere. She really enjoys seeing the water.
Excellent. Well, you came to the right state, I suppose. Well, thanks, Zach. It's been a real pleasure to have you on staff, and looking forward to continuing to work with you over the coming years, and also seeing you make your way through the coursework at RTS. But thank you and your wife for what you guys are doing for us, and look forward to continuing to labor for the kingdom of God alongside you. But thanks for this time.
Thank you, Greg. It's been good.
We'll see you all next time around.